Hi everybody, it's Parker from TestPrepChampions.com, and in this video I just wanted to cover 6 different college note-taking methods that are really helpful, and I'm going to cover them off of one of my questions that I answered from Quora, and the original question is, what's the best way for college students to take notes in class? So I'm going to cover these 6 methods right now, starting with the split page method as you see on the screen. So the split page method is very simple. All you're going to do is you're going to divide your paper up so that there's about a 2.5 to 3 inch margin on the left hand side of the paper, and you can either just visualize that there's a line there, or you can just take a pen or pencil and actually draw a line in. And you're going to use that side of the page to write down keywords and questions, and you're going to pair those with your lecture notes. So for example, here's what I mean. So let's say that you're learning about the history of World War I if you're in a history class. You might learn about the date that World War I started, for example, or you might learn about the different countries that were involved and which countries were on which side. So let's say that you have that all in your notes as part of the lecture. So you could write over here in your margin, you could write date World War I started. And then that would be paired with the date right out of your lecture notes. And then you could also write which countries were on which side as a question. And that would also be paired to the lecture notes where you cover that. And so then when you go to study, the idea is that you're going to cover up your lecture notes, either with your hand or with a sheet of paper, a folder, whatever you have, and you're just going to look at those keywords and questions, and you'll see those questions or keywords however you do it, and that's going to, you're going to then try to recall your lecture notes that way. So they're basically just prompts to help you memorize your lecture notes. So that's a really effective way to do it, and it's very simple. That's the split page method. And so the Cornell note-taking method is what I'm going to cover next, and that's very, very similar to the split page method. As we can see here on the screen, you're going to have that 2.5 to 3 inch margin on the left-hand side of your paper, and the bulk of your page will still be for lecture notes. The only main difference is that down at the bottom of the page, you're going to leave about 2 inches for a summary, and it's best to do that after class. And same with the keywords and questions. If you can't think of them on the fly, you can always write them in after class. That's a valid way of doing it too, for the split page or the Cornell. But with the Cornell method, the idea is that after class, what you're going to do is you'll sit down as soon as possible and you'll review your notes, and you're just going to write a little summary. Take all the points, try to tie them together, or just identify a main concept, put that in your summary. That's going to help solidify your notes in your brain, and then when you go to study, you'll be able to just glance through the pages of your notes and look at those summaries, and that's going to help you figure out the key points quickly if you're in a hurry. So that's a very popular method, and it is an effective method that's simple to do. Doesn't add that much time to your studying, so you can definitely check that one out. And then the third one is another very, very simple method, and this is the outlining method. And so all you're going to do is you're going to write your notes so that you organize them into a main topic, subtopic, and then related points. So for example, again, let's just stick with this history example. I'm just making this up as we go. If you're learning about World War I, maybe the topic, and the main topic would be the start of World War I. And then the subtopic would be events that contributed to that. And then you just put down related points. And then the second main topic that you cover that day would be, I don't know, something else. But you get the point, hopefully. And that's a really easy way to do it. So if you're looking for a new way to just change your note-taking and improve it quickly, just adding some kind of order and structure to it, like as following this outline method, that's a really simple way to improve your notes quickly. Okay, so now we're on to the mind mapping, and mind mapping is more practical, I would say, to do before or after class, although you can certainly do it in class. There's a lot of different ways to do mind mapping, but this is just one of the basic ways that I'm showing on screen, and it's essentially the outline method. As you can see the similarities, let me go back to the outline method. You've got your main topic, and then you've got subtopic and related points. So with the mind mapping, it's just you're going to make one map for each main topic. So if there's a really big main topic, then this would be a good method. And you just put that main topic in a box right in the center, and then you connect that to your subtopics, and then your related points would just be attached to each subtopic. So it essentially is the same as the outline method. You're just organizing it in boxes like this. And so this is a very, very effective technique to use. Like I said, it works really well before class. So if you do your reading before class, even if you just skim it, you can make a mind map, and that's going to help you see a structure. And then after class, you can make that map even more detailed. You can also take notes in class, say using the outline method, and then after class, as a way of reviewing your notes, rewrite those notes into a mind map. And the visual component to this, like you can get creative and use different colors, and you can put it really as much as you want into it. But this is a good method, I would say. And if you're taking notes out of your book or something, like you can always use, they'll usually have a main topic, and then like there'll be subheadings in the book. So it's pretty easy to do this once you get some practice. It does take some time though, so I will say that that's one of the negatives of the mind mapping, is that it does take a little while, and it's not really that practical to do in the class on the spot, because you've got to make decisions about what goes on it and what goes where, and that's part of how it's so effective, because you have to think critically about how you're going to structure it, but at the same time, it's hard to do on the fly. So then the next one comes from Scott Young, who is an entrepreneur, and he's pretty well known for his MIT challenge, among other things, so you can check that out. I'll put a link down in the description if you're not sure who Scott Young is. If you're watching a video like this, you'd probably be very interested in his material. But he came up with this flow-based notes, and it's very similar to mind mapping. It's just that it's less restrictive. So as you can see here, you take a main topic and you just freestyle, basically. You just take different subtopics and you write those subtopics in, and then you write related points, and wherever you see different connections between the material, you'll just draw arrows between them. So it's basically like mind mapping. It's just a lot more, or I should say a lot less restrictive, and there's other ways to do it too, and you can go read more about flow-based note-taking. I'll put a link to that down below. And then the last one I want to cover comes from Dr. Cal Newport, who is a bit of a legend with his Study Hacks blog and his books, and I highly recommend you to check out any of his material if you want to learn more. He's got a lot of other note-taking methods too, like he's got I think he calls it, I won't get into it, I'll put a link down below, but he's got a lot of really good information. But one of the main ones that he talks about is his question, evidence, conclusion. And the idea behind this is that professors generally lecture around a series of questions, or one central question, and that's what they'll be answering with the lecture in their presentation. And so if it's not clear what the questions are, you just make them up based off of what's being covered. And so then once you identify the question, you're going to write down the evidence that helps you answer the question, and then logically, once the conclusion comes up, you put the conclusion there. And Cal even says that it's not always this simple. Like sometimes the professors don't just start with a question and then give the evidence, the conclusion, so you're going to have to kind of put that together for yourself. But that's part of it, because it involves critical thinking, and the strength of this method is that you have to really make decisions and think critically about the material and how you're organizing it in your notes. And then, just like the other methods here, for the most part, what you would do, just like with the split page or the Cornell, is you would cover up your evidence and you'd cover up the conclusions, and you'd hopefully just start with the question, and you'd be able to recite the evidence and recite the conclusion and be able to walk someone through it, and that's how you would study. It's a very efficient way to do it. It does take a little practice, but it is very effective. So there you have it. Good luck, everybody, with your studying. Let me know if you have any more questions. I hope that this was helpful. And so that's a wrap, guys. So please subscribe, like this video if you found it helpful. And like I said, good luck.